When I was 21, I was drinking every single weekend. And I don't just mean socially, I mean drinking a lot, on my own, in my bedroom, just trying to feel something. I'd work all week at this depressing call centre in London that would only hire struggling actors like myself. I was making £200 a week, barely able to afford rent, and I was blowing the rest on alcohol. Like an idiot. I told myself that I was just chasing an acting dream and that this is what struggling artists do, but deep down I was just numbing everything. And everyone around me just seemed to accept it, like, you know, this is what you do in your early 20s, but deep down I knew something was wrong and something had to change, but I didn't know how, to be honest, until one day I received an email. So when I was 21 years old, my life looked fine from the outside, maybe even slightly successful. As soon as I finished university, studying my acting degree, I moved to London with my best friend. We lived in a flat with two other people in Shadwell in East London, which at the time, there was crime on my doorstep every single morning. People stealing mopeds, all sorts of stuff. And I was chasing the acting dream, but I very quickly realized that acting jobs, they don't come often. And then I get this survival job, a 9-to-5 job, and basically it was telemarketing. They would make me call a load of people in America, weirdly, and try to sell them these food subscription boxes for a very big company. I won't say the name of it. And if I'm honest, I absolutely hated it. And the whole time I was working there, I was dreaming of getting a big acting job, being able to move to a part of the UK that I actually enjoyed because I was not enjoying London, and just feeling happy. And so I decided to numb the pain with an alcohol problem that I had been nursing since my first year of university. And the thing is, this call centre was only paying me £200 a week. As soon as that payment would come in, I would pay my rent like a good boy, but then I would go out to the clubs, to the pub, or even when it got really bad, I would just walk down to the Sainsbury's local, buy myself a pack of beers and drink them alone in my bedroom. I think I looked at myself in the mirror in that moment and I thought to myself, oh Sam, you're very close to hitting rock bottom. But I kept drinking anyway. I thought, oh, I feel a bit sad. Why not drink a bit more? It was terrible. All of these bad decisions were mine and mine alone. They were totally my responsibility, and I was the only one who could fix them. And honestly, the hardest part for me throughout all of this was I did not like who I was becoming. I did not like myself, and I would look in the mirror, I would look rough, and I wanted to quit acting because I had friends I went to school with who were now on like 100k salary with the lovely car and the building the family, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just an alcoholic pretending to be an actor. So I was miserable. But then I wake up one day to the most amazing email. I received an email from a company in Japan who wanted to hire me. I was going to be an actor in one of Japan's biggest theme parks. It was a dream job, lots of money. And honestly, when I auditioned for that job in August of 2019, I didn't think I would get it, you know? And because I knew I'd been stuck in the UK for 21 years of my life and that it just didn't seem like the right fit for me, I was so ready. I wasn't even that scared. I was a little bit nervous, but I knew I was young, lack of responsibility, my parents and my brothers still healthy, and I knew I had the time to do it. And so everything just seemed to line up perfectly. And then I get there and I start diving into rehearsals, and I'm loving living in Japan. I'm making amazing mates, especially with a lot of Aussies, funnily enough. I suddenly meet this girl in a different show. We start talking and I realize I like her, but I was like, no, I've been wasting all this time drinking too much alcohol and smoking and everything like that. And I thought, no, I'm going to dive into my acting career. I'm going to be professional. I'm not going to chase girls. And basically, you know, we start talking more and we start hanging out more, and I'm like, okay, I'm falling for this girl a little bit. So, you know, I ask her out on a date. We go to this yakiniku restaurant and she tells me that she is a Christian and that she believes in Jesus. And I'm like, wow, okay. You can probably tell there was a bit of pushback there. I was like, as I think a lot of us experience, if you don't believe, you don't want to know about it. It's like, no, don't, because you're going to preach to me. But Maddie was so gracious. She said nothing more about it than a few words. So that's when I sort of slowly started to build a faith in God. And, you know, I think it's important to say, because it was one of the biggest things that saved me, if not the main thing. As a lot of you know, I married that girl a couple of years later, and it was the best decision that I'd ever made. But arguably one of the other best decisions I ever made was actually taking that leap and moving to Japan, because if I didn't do that, I would have never have met her. And so we go on a few more dates and it's going so well. And I suddenly realize I'm the youngest I'll ever be. I've met the love of my life, which I was correct about. I've got my dream acting job. And although I've made a huge amount of mistakes in the past, this is the best my life has ever been. And I realized I could not mess this up, because if I threw away all of this, I would never forgive myself. And so I knew I had to do one very important thing immediately, and that was quit drinking. One day, after going on a gorgeous date with Maddie, I was like, no, that's it. I'm not drinking alcohol ever again. I'm not touching this stuff. And I quit it, and I never looked back. And it wasn't just that I wanted to stop drinking. I also wanted to start living a better and improved life, because I've been living such a miserable and jaded existence for so many years. Yeah, I made the leap, and I never looked back. By the way, if you've been resonating with any of these videos and you want to get a more behind the scenes look at my life and how I operate here in Australia, then that is all included on my Patreon membership. I will leave that in the first link in the description below if you're interested. I took another year contract at that company, spent 2 years of my life in Osaka, but that was 2 years not being able to see my family, missing my home, my culture, and so I knew it was time to go home. But I'd be going home a new and improved version of myself, Sam 2.0. Taking that job in Japan and quitting alcohol completely changed my life. No more did I have hangovers. I would wake up in the morning at a normal hour. I would feel good. I would feel alive. I wouldn't feel half dead. I could go for a run and feel confident and like today was going to be a good day. Whereas on most Sundays, I would be curling up into a ball, ordering Uber Eats and watching Netflix and just rotting in bed, and it was horrible. Now, I am not against alcohol at all whatsoever. That's really important. I mentioned that. So I always say to people when they, ask if I'm uncomfortable being around alcohol, I say not at all. And what was crazy is that all aspects of my life suddenly improved. I was happier. I was the healthiest I've ever been. My relationships were better. I felt clear-headed, and my conversations with friends and family got better, and they noticed and they appreciated it. And I was like, I flipping love this thing called running. I signed up to a marathon and ran one at the start of 2024, and it was one of the hardest but most amazing experiences of my life, and it's now a habit I do every single year. And probably the most obvious thing, which you will have noticed if you're a subscriber, and if you're not, hit that subscribe button to help me keep these videos coming, is that I started my YouTube channel, a childhood dream, to actually be a YouTuber, not who's making millions of dollars, but a YouTuber who can consistently create a piece of content every single week, to have that work ethic, to have that self-discipline. That was something that I could not sustain when I was drinking a lot of alcohol, because I had zero motivation, hardly any work ethic, zero self-discipline. It's really important that I mention in this video, this isn't me trying to convince you to change your life or to quit alcohol. I just want to share my story with you so you can sort of see someone who's made a few bad decisions at the start of his adulthood. I greatly regretted them, but that it's not too late. And the thing is, if you feel stuck, one bold decision can literally change everything. I know I still have a lot to learn, and I hope I have many years ahead of me. But I would say that if you're in a position where you're struggling with some sort of addiction, or living in a place you don't want to be, or just feeling so jaded and miserable about life, I really feel for you, because I was there right at the start of my adulthood, and I thought, is this all life is? Have I ruined the rest of my life? Have I gone down the wrong path, and is it too late? And the thing is, it is not too late. You have never gone too far the other way to be able to start again and to break those bad habits, to create beautiful good habits, and to create a beautiful life. But what would I know? I'm just a 26-year-old guy trying to do my best. rebuilding my life out here in Australia. And so far so good, but I know that life being life can come round to bite you in the bottom at any moment in time. Now, if you've resonated with my story at all whatsoever, you might want to know what it was like to leave the UK, to move to Australia, and how I see the UK now. So go watch this video here where I tell you all about it. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I appreciate that you've given me some of your time out of the day, and that means a huge amount. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.